Welcome all to this tutorial. Today I am going to go ahead and introduce you to a web server setup. For this you will need to bring about your CentOS machine, which we have created previously as well. So I have it up and running here. We will use one machine to create a server and another machine to actually connect to the server. So this is me doing some nonsense here. I'll just go ahead and clear it. Doesn't really matter. So at the moment I am on the CentOS machine, and here I am going to bring the web server up, to bring about the web server up and running. I would also recommend that you too do it on the CentOS machine, as the procedure is exactly the same and this costs nothing. So all you need to do is go ahead and type in yum search Apache and press enter. There's a lot of things that pops into your sphere of vision here, but let's just go ahead and search through some of them. And I didn't expand the screen, so let's just do this one more time. Shouldn't waste too much time like that. Excellent. So what do we got here out of all these things? We are looking for a web server. Perhaps I should add some filtering. I should definitely add some filtering, because there is no way that this is going to work. So grep-i, and we're going to type in server. Okay, so this is noticeably less, and there we go. So httpd.x8664 Apache HTTP server, and that is the one that we're looking for. That is the one that we would like to install on this particular machine. So just go ahead and type in yum install httpd .x86. This also shouldn't be necessary, but I don't know. I really don't mind typing it in. That would be it. Just press enter. It's gonna load. Okay, on this particular machine it says that it is already installed and it's up and running. Well, I'm not sure if it's up and running, but it is installed in any case, and I don't need to go through the whole installation procedure. The whole installation procedure is basically you just sitting back and waiting for it to finish. You might get prompted with one question. Just press Y to answer it with yes. That is pretty much it. It's basically just a question asking you, are you sure that you want to install it? That is literally all. So let us go ahead and clear the screen, and let's verify that Apache is running, or should I say, let's go ahead and check the status of Apache. So system ctl space status httpd dot service. I'll just see the status. So it says loaded, disabled, active, inactive. It's dead. Okay, so no big deal. We can type in start, press enter, and the Apache web server has indeed started. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind here. You have a configuration file, and you have a file where your web things are stored, such as your website files, or I don't know, just some things that you would like to be downloadable or something like that. So in any case, the working directory, the root of the Apache web server when you visit that particular site would be on this machine in cd var www ls, and there we go. Now we are in the root of that system. Now we are in root of the Apache web server. Well, that really depends how you configure it, but we'll see that in a moment. So anyway, you would put your files here. Well, maybe not directly here. You would put it under HTML, if I'm not mistaken. HTML, and if I do ls, there is nothing there. Okay, let's just go ahead and check light ttpd if there is anything there. Oh, okay, so there are things there. We will the index file, if I'm not mistaken, in all likelihood, by default on pretty much an Apache server, when you started, it's going to give you a lot of information in regard to that Apache server. And we will check that out now. First of all, by typing config, and I don't have internet connection here, strangely enough, so let's just go ahead and connect to the internet manually through the terminal. You can type in dh client and wait for it. I press enter. There you go. So we have an IP address. It's 192.168.0.101. Fantastic. Let's go over to our Red Hat machine. Lots of things there. Red Hat. There we go. CD, and we need to go over to Firefox. Oops. Like on Firefox. Okay, so that's the default place. Let's go to 192.168.1 ups.0.101. Was it 101? No. Was it 102 by any chance? Connecting problem. Nope. Let's go ahead and check the IP address one more time because of my terrible memory. Oh, okay, so it is 101, but we are not able to connect. Let's just verify this, and then we're gonna start our troubleshooting session. So 192.168.0.101. If I say try again, okay, so no big deal, I can't actually connect to it. I mean, it is a big deal, but it's not that big of a problem that can't be resolved or something of a kind. Anyway, let's go ahead and clear the screen. CD here, clear the screen again. And one of the first things that we're going to do is verify locally that the Apache server is run. Oops, I need status, not start. Status. Okay, so it is active indeed. It is running, so that's not a problem. Let's go ahead and see if we can actually visit it from the local machine. We'll open up Firefox. Anytime now, please. There we go. Sesame open. Okay, don't need this, don't need this. Let's type in localhost. Okay, so it is working from here. Two possibilities. Either the port 80 is not open for external traffic, or the configuration file is simply not listening on the IP address that has been assigned to the interface. I'm sure you can come up with some other possibilities as well, but for the time being, I am going to go ahead and assume that it could be one of those two. So how do we go about solving this? Well, first off, since we started an interface, we might try with a simple restart and see if that's going to help us out. So restart, and let's see if it's going to pick up the address by default. That's a valid shot. I mean, if you can save yourself a lot of time in such a way, not a bad idea. Second, this could not have. Does this have internet access? Yes, it does. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue our troubleshooting session. We have restarted the service, but okay, nothing has happened there. Let's go into the configuration file and have a look. So vim space/etc/httpd. What do you got for me? Conf. No, mate, I just need conf. No, that's not the one. Come on. cd etc httpd. Let's see, what do we got here? So we got conf. Okay, what do we got here? http conf. There we go. So vim httpd.conf. Press enter, and here you can actually configure how you want your web server to behave. And there you go. Server root is etc httpd. Wow, okay, no big deal. And down below it says listen on port 80. That's fine. Web servers by default listen on port 80, and HTTP is on port 80, and HTTPS is on port 443. But what else does it say? It says listens allows you to bind Apache to a specific IP address and or ports instead of the default. See also virtual host directive. Change this to listen on specific IP address as shown below to prevent Apache from glooming onto all bound IP addresses. Seems simple enough of a fix. Let's go ahead and just scroll down to see if we can see anything else that's of interest to us. So we got a server admin. Directories were not document root, and that's what we need. That's what I was talking previously. It's not the Apache root, my sincere apologies. It's the document root where all the documents go. So it's var www.html. We have visited that place, and you can actually change it to pretty much whatever, although it's not really advisable to do that unless you really know what you are doing. You could seriously compromise your system. Okay, so we are scrolling. I don't think that we're going to find anything particularly useful here. What I wanted to do is mess around with that IP address, as that I believe is the primary cause of the problem. So let's go ahead and edit this file with insert, delete this, and it says here some random IP address, but I am going to change it. You can leave the port number. So 192.168.0.101. Keep in mind that this IP address will most likely change. So this is just for demonstration purposes. Obviously, in the real environment, you would have a static IP address, which you could use for your web server. But since I don't have a static IP address, I mean, I could configure one. However, there is no need for this sort of a demonstration. Right quit, and don't forget to restart the service to load the new configuration. Job for http.serve failed. You have failed. Okay. Why have you failed? Tell me, why have you failed? Let's go ahead and paste it. Failed to start. Status 1 failure. So I could not bind. Oh, okay. Address already in use. Think I know what the problem is. So let's type in stop, and let's type in start. Okay, so let's go back into the file, and let's comment. Let's go ahead and comment this line out. Right quit again. Let's go ahead and start it. There we go. So it can't listen twice on port 80. That would be the problem. Anyway, let's go ahead and see if we can access it on our Red Hat machine now. Try again. Still cannot access it. So let's go ahead and type in google.com. Will you be able to access this? Yes, you will. Am I seriously typing in the wrong IP address? So 192.168.0.101 HTML. Nope. Okay, so there's a bigger problem here at hand, and I don't want to cut this out. I want to show what I would do to figure out what the problem is. So 168.0.101. Let's see if we can actually ping it. So we can ping it. Next thing that can be problematic is the firewall. We haven't yet spoken about our firewall, and I haven't really introduced you to it at all, but we will. But for the time being, let's just make a troubleshooting command to allow port 80 connections from anywhere. All we need to do is type in IP tables and append input. So rule number 1. I will explain these things in greater detail when we actually get to the firewall configuration. So -a input 1 protocol TCP the port. So destination port will be 80, and I would like to issue the command. I would like you to accept everything there. Center bad argument 1. Pen. Oh, right. You can't append it and give a row. You need to insert it and then give a row. J, of course, it's not. And there we go. So now this should definitely work. If it doesn't, I don't know. You can tell me that I am lame and that I have no idea what I'm doing. So 192.168.0.101, and there we go. So we have successfully connected to the Apache web server. Keynote here. I didn't actually run a test of this prior to the tutorial. I literally just went ahead with it and just to see what sort of problems would I encounter. So I believe that would be beneficial for you to see a real situation and take a look at what I did. First conclusion that I made was that there was something wrong with the configuration file. Well, no. First thing that I wanted to check whether this service was running at all. So I issued the systemctl command to see whether the service is active at all, whether it has been loaded. Second, I tried to access it from the local machine, so on localhost, and I seem to have been able to access it. Then I went into the configuration file thinking that there is something wrong with the configuration. I've changed the IP address to match it, but that wasn't the problem. I do believe that it would have worked without me changing that IP address if I've only changed the firewall settings. There is one more thing that you can do here that I didn't do, that I would have done, and that is basically install a tool called Nmap, and with it conduct a scan. But I don't have enough time in this video, so in the next one we can deal a bit further with that subject, as we're going to be dealing with a few other servers and with a few other services and how to set them up. So that was my troubleshooting process. That was the order that I have taken. That is not necessarily the best order or the most logical order. That is just the one that I have taken, and you can see the troubleshooting process happening live. So you just check one thing after another. Something's got to give. I mean, eventually something's got to give. Eventually you have to find the error, and it's going to work. It's just a matter of time and luck to an extent, of course. Anyway, I bid you all farewell, and I hope to see you in the follow-up tutorial.